everybody knows him. You know, he's really known and everybody likes him. I never known him to have any enemies. So we said that it had to be somebody that was really close to him. And then, so to our surprise, it was his wife.
22-year-old Kemia Hassel learned her punishment today in Berrien County. Last month, a jury found her guilty of the January killing of Sergeant Tyrone Hassel III. He was shot to death while visiting family in Michigan.
Welcome to my channel, everyone. Courtney Elise here, aka Court Crimes TV. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. Also, hit that notification bell, that way you'll know every time I upload. Let's get into the video. Just before the new year, on December 31st, 2018, police would be called to the home of Tyrone Hassel Jr.'s house. In the driveway would lie Army Sergeant 23-year-old Tyrone Hassel III. His body would be riddled with bullets. As paramedics lifted the gurney into the ambulance, his distraught wife was inconsolable. She even tried to climb in there with him, but was quickly taken out. His wife Kemia would then talk to police as paramedics were taking Tyrone away. She said Tyrone had just gotten her and their 2-year-old son something to eat, and then he went back outside, and that's when she heard the gunshots. They told her that it wasn't looking good for him. Tyrone was multiple times in the head, neck, shoulder, and just all over his body. This news sent Kemia into a further hysterical frenzy. You see, Tyrone and Kemia met in 2015 in the Army while they were at Fort Carson in Colorado. The two would end up marrying and having a child together. Their relationship moved very quickly, but hey, they were just young and in love. Police would get to work quickly investigating the shooting. They originally went with the thought of robbery because he was in Benton Harbor. Benton Harbor, Michigan was a very low income neighborhood, and Tyrone had a very nice truck and he was very established in the military. But investigators quickly realized that wasn't the case because his phone, wallet, and keys to his truck were still in his possession. Everything of value that a robber would want was untouched. They would then ask Kemia if it was a possible deal gone wrong, and she said no. His father, Tyrone Hassel Jr., said that his son was a good person. He kept his nose clean. Tyrone wanted more for himself. That's why he enlisted himself into the Army. Tyrone was a very determined young man, and he rose very quickly by becoming an Army sergeant at just 23 years old. He wanted to show the young people in Benton Harbor there's more to life than just the streets. I say all that because when investigating the they figured this was a case of mistaken identity. They thought the person who Tyrone mistook him for his half-brother Benny, who had been hanging around some people who were up to no good. And Tyrone just so happened to step outside at the wrong time. On New Year's Day, Tyrone Hassel III would be pronounced dead. He was just 23 years old. When Tyrone passed, police really upped the search for Tyrone's killer. They got information from an elderly couple in the neighborhood and was told that a few days before the a suspicious car kept parking by the house. They also went back to Tyrone's dad and gave him the theory about Benny and how it was a possible case of mistaken identity. His father quickly shut down that theory because he said the person who shot his son saw his face when he shot him. They were following every tip that came in. Finally, they would get an anonymous call from a woman whose son was in the military with Tyrone and Kemia. This caller's claims would take the investigation to a whole other level. She said that Kemia was having an affair with a soldier while she was stationed in Korea. She fully believed that the relationship Kemia was having with this other soldier may have led to all of this. That same day, police got the anonymous tip. 2 Army specialists came forward. When talking, they gave up the name Jeremy Cuellar. He was an Army specialist as well, who drove a truck on the base. He said that Tyrone knew about the affair and actually confronted Jeremy about it. They said that Jeremy referred to Kemia as his girl and that Tyrone had to go. Another soldier said that Jeremy had bought 2 guns from him prior to the One of the guns matched the caliber used to kill Tyrone. With Jeremy being a prime suspect, he would be put under surveillance at his home near the base. His black Chevy Impala was searched and investigators found 9mm ammunition and another 9mm magazine which matched the type of caliber ammunition found at the crime scene. Investigators also found out that his car was in the area of the time of the shooting via a license plate reader. Jeremy would be arrested on January 11, 2019 and refused to speak with with police. But just because he refused to talk at the police station doesn't mean he wasn't talking all over his mouth to his friends. He told one of the guys on base that after he Tyrone, he stood over him and put one in his head to confirm the kill. Remember, Tyrone's dad dismissed the mistaken identity theory because he said the person who killed his son saw his face, and that's exactly what Jeremy did. Now, with Jeremy in custody, Kemia would be brought back in for questioning. Police didn't beat around the bush when talking to her. They immediately confronted her about their knowledge of her affair with Jeremy. She would deny these claims, but police wasn't budging. Kemia agreed to take a polygraph test and failed miserably. After being confronted with the results of the test, she finally confessed. She admitted that she did in fact have an affair with Jeremy and that the two planned Tyrone's murder. She also mentioned the fact that Tyrone had a $400,000 life insurance policy and that the two of them wanted it. She talked about how Jeremy initially planned on shooting Tyrone outside of a nightclub, but that there was too many people around, so he backed out. She also said that she was on the phone with Jeremy before and after her husband's murder. She said she wanted to back out, but didn't want Jeremy mad at her, which is sad. You know, she could have easily just divorced this young man instead of having him killed. January 2019, the day of her husband's funeral, Kemia Hassel would be arrested. This shocked Tyrone's family. This girl acted as if she was a distraught widow. They comforted her in their home for 12 days. Whole time, she was the one who orchestrated his death. Kemia would confess everything to her mother, and to say the least, disappointment was an understatement. During the trial, Kemia's attorney tried to say that she was coerced by Jeremy into going forward with the murder plot. They also said that she was tricked into a false confession because the detective told Kemia that Jeremy was already talking, when in fact, he refused to speak without an attorney present. Either way, there was no denying she had anything to do with it because her phone confession to her mother sealed her fate. Jeremy also said in court that Kemia told him to come back when she confirmed Tyrone was coming back with food. On July 18th, 2019, Kemia Hassel was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. On August 29, 2019, Kemia Hassel was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
22-year-old Kemia Hassel learned her punishment today in Berrien County. Last month, a jury found her guilty of the January killing of Sergeant Tyrone Hassel III. He was shot to death while visiting family in Michigan.
Jeremy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to 65 to 90 years in prison. He later requested to withdraw the plea, but was denied.
A former Fort Stewart soldier will spend at least 65 years in prison for his role in killing another soldier. Jeremy Cuellar was sentenced yesterday in Michigan. He was charged with killing Sergeant Tyrone Hassel III while he was visiting family. Hassel's wife, Kemia, is serving a life sentence for her role in the murder. She and Cuellar reportedly plotted the soldier's death to collect Army death benefits and life insurance money.
Sergeant Tyrone Hassel III, by all accounts, seemed like a good and genuine guy. His online videos showed he was funny, liked to goof around, but most importantly took his family and his career in the Army seriously. Him being set up and killed by his own wife is just all around sad. Kemia is an evil and manipulative woman. For her to sit there and cut up the way she did the night he was shot, jumping into the ambulance, crying hysterically, was pure evil. I mean, she deserved an Oscar for that performance. Really. Tyrone's family felt even more betrayed because they thought she was a grieving young widow, only to find out she was playing in their face their whole time. She was the one who did it. Jeremy, while in prison, would request to talk to Tyrone's father. He admitted his wrongs and even told him the whole rundown of that night. But what stuck out to me the most is what Tyrone Hassel Jr. told Jeremy in response. It was very short, but also very loud. Jeremy tried to act like he didn't understand, but he knew exactly what Tyrone's father was saying. Rest in peace, Tyrone.